Hey everyone, welcome to the Convos with Anita Santiago podcast. I am your host, Anita Santiago. Please like, share, subscribe, and review the podcast on all platforms. And just remember, if you'd like to reach out to me, you can email me at convoscws@gmail.com. Welcome to the first podcast episode of 2026. We're here. I'm still here. And I'm really glad about that. Shout out to MMS 314 Media, who helps me make this podcast possible. So, what are we talking about today? Well, if you know me and you've been following me for a while, you know I love memes and I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on my phone. I often read them for fun or laughs or get inspiration. So the other day I came across a meme that was really interesting to me. And it said, there's nothing more expensive than a missed opportunity. And I thought to myself, that sounds like the beginning of a podcast episode. So here we are. Let's talk about missed opportunities and what it means and why it's important. The most the most significant thing to me about missed opportunities is that we often think of it in the construct of finances. So often when you hear about a missed opportunity, very often it will allude to, oh, you missed an opportunity to invest, to put your money in some vehicle to make money. And in that sense, we kind of think of missed opportunities as, money related, but they're not always. There are opportunities that we can miss in our business, in the one that got away. Often a phrase used when people have missed the opportunity for a particular relationship. Because we typically have a focus of opportunities that's tied to money, we can often think of missed opportunities as missed money. So if I didn't invest $100 in Microsoft in the 90s and I'm not a bazillionaire, I look at that as, oh my gosh, I lost $1 billion. I could have had $1 billion, but I didn't invest the money. I would say that there are other costs that come with missed opportunity. The cost of not growing, of being stagnant, of not being able to add things to our lives that could potentially be important. So I kind of want to give you my thoughts about missed opportunities. Let's see what you think. So, missed opportunities are really related to risk, whether or not we feel comfortable taking a risk. Some people are very risk avoidant, meaning that they don't want to take a risk if it's not absolutely necessary. And other people feel more comfortable with risk. Understanding our risk tolerance level is really important to understand why we may or may not jump on a particular opportunity that's presented to us. So, in our hesitation, sometimes, besides being scared of risk or um, not comfortable with risk, what other things get in the way of us leveraging opportunities? Well, the first one is going to be right in line with what we're talking about. The aversion to losing something, loss aversion. I don't want to lose the $100 I have in my pocket because it's tangible. I can feel it and I can see it. So take this $100 in my pocket and I invest it. I'm scared of losing that $100. And even though I have the potential to make $1 billion, the anxiety over that loss or the worry over that loss of what's actually in my pocket can cause me to hesitate to take an opportunity. Now, that's just a blanket example. Um, there are a lot of unknowns in there, but the point being that our feeling about losing what is in the immediate time frame can cause us to say, no, I'm not going to jump into this opportunity. And again, this can affect us in many, many areas. It can affect us in our jobs. So you may not want to lose the stability and comfort of the job you have to take a to take advantage of an opportunity that may be presenting itself to you, because in the immediate moment you understand that you have a job, you're getting paid regularly, everything's comfortable. You don't have a guarantee when you're taking a risk. So again, this could lead us to hesitation. Another thing that gets in the way of us taking opportunities is perfectionism, meaning that I can't do anything until all the pieces are actually in place. I need all the things together like they need to be before I can take this opportunity. I'm not ready until everything is perfectly in place. The problem with that is that very often that's never going to happen, where you have all the things in place that you need to be ready to take an opportunity. So if you think about, am I ready to take this opportunity because I don't have all the information that I need? You're really talking about your readiness. Are you ready to leverage an opportunity, or are you frozen because you need everything to be perfectly in place, in order, before you can make a decision? The problem with that is that often the window for that opportunity will close before we've had a chance to make a decision if we're stuck in perfectionism. Perfectionism impacts a lot more people than we like to admit, and a lot more people struggle with perfectionism more than they realize. So, that is a second way that we can hesitate to leverage opportunities. A third way is analysis paralysis or decision paralysis. This is when you have so many things in front of you that it's hard to make a decision. So, for example, there was a study, I can't remember the name of it, where people were offered 24 flavors and they were asked to decide which one they wanted to purchase. Well, no one bought anything because it was difficult to choose between the 24 flavors. When they were offered 6 flavors, people actually made the purchase. That's because, an example, with 24 flavors, there was so much information available, it was hard to make a decision. When we get down to the 6 flavors, then it's easier to decide because you don't have as much information to sift through. When you're stuck in analysis paralysis, you're constantly gathering information and you're weaving it into the analysis, so it becomes like a never ending loop, because another piece of information will come and another piece of information will come, and did we look at this angle, did we look at that angle? And what happens is you spend so much time analyzing that you never make a decision and you end up doing nothing. So you miss the opportunity because no decision was ever made. So in my mind, those are three ways that can cause us to hesitate when it comes to leveraging opportunities. Now, the other side of this coin is the types of opportunities that we typically miss. I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast episode that often when we talk about missed opportunities, we talk about financial investments. But there are other types of opportunities that we miss in life, and maybe you've never thought about it like this. You have to recognize these areas so that you're more aware and maybe in a better position to take advantage of an opportunity if it comes your way. So, what's the first type of missed opportunities that we experience? Professional opportunities. Let's say, for example, your company has a project that's going on that needs a leader. You want to volunteer, but you don't because you say, "Oh, I'm too busy. I have too many things to do." Sometimes for professionals, the term imposter syndrome can come into play, and that just means that we often feel less confident about our abilities than we actually are. So when you're in a situation like this and you have an opportunity to jump in and put your hat in the ring for the leader of this project, but you don't, there's a cost. There's a cost for that missed opportunity. There's a cost in career growth, perhaps. Maybe this opportunity would have given you new skills that would position you for movement in your company. There are potentially monetary impact. Maybe taking this project could have lined you up for a promotion of some sort. Maybe taking on this project, putting your hat in the ring for this project, could have stretched you and showcased your skills to others in the company, leading to other opportunities for you. But because you decided not to throw your hat in the ring, you missed that opportunity. I think many of us, seasoned professionals, can relate to this. Thinking about opportunities that came our way, and for whatever reason, we couldn't leverage that opportunity. It's very important that you consider the cost of missing professional opportunities. Another area of missed opportunities in our lives are personal, that relate to personal relationships. So let's say you have a friend and something happens. You and a friend were supposed to go to an event. Something comes up and you can't make it, but you don't call, you don't give any questions, you don't give any explanation, you just don't show up and you never address it. Well, this is a missed opportunity to smooth something over related to that relationship by you not calling the friend or not giving an explanation of what happened or waiting for the right time to have that conversation can really put a dent in the relationship. Many relationships, I don't care what kind of relationship it is, romantic, friendship, or otherwise, coworkers, a lot of relationships suffer when there's a lack of intentional communication. This is a big area of missed opportunities. There are times where we probably should deal with something, have a conversation, make a phone call, smooth something over, and we choose not to for whatever reason. I think that we have to understand the cost to those relationships. Sometimes we feel very strongly about something, and that relationship isn't um, worth us doing those things for. But I'm a believer in the power of relationships. I feel like you should never discount the impact that a relationship can have in your life. So if there's an opportunity to have a conversation, to make a phone call, to smooth something over, we should probably do it. Why? This gives you a chance to grow in the areas of having difficult conversations, taking ownership for things that you own, personal growth, not being afraid to deal with things that come your way. So, anytime that we miss an opportunity to strengthen the relationships in our lives, that can have a very detrimental cost. And one of the things that is very important for us is our social support system. So, if we don't take the time to really shore up these relationships, this could really have a detrimental cost to us in the long term. And the last type of missed opportunities that we can experience in our lives are intellectual opportunities. Now, this one might be a little bit more controversial. I'm going to use technology as my example because this is a big one, especially for the more seasoned people in the room. I remember when the concept of the internet first came about. And I was so adamant I would never use it. It didn't make any sense to me. Why would anybody need internet? It's an evil thing. They're trying to get in our brains with the internet. Dismissed it. And the next thing you know, everyone has a personal computer in their house. Everyone is on the internet. And oh my gosh, AOL came around for of us who remember. And now we're online, we're in chat rooms, and now information is coming to us at a dizzying rate. Since that time, technology has evolved at a faster pace. I think now I've heard or read that technology evolves every 6 months now. There's something new, there's something exciting coming down the pipeline. And a lot of times we could be really dismissive. There was a time where actually cell phones were not smartphones, they were just phones. And when smartphones came about, I remember having a conversation. Who would want to look on a little screen on their phone for anything? Now we have many people who use their phones instead of a laptop or a tablet. So, new technology affects us in a big way. Missed opportunities, intellectual opportunities in the example I'm using right now, could be a turning away from new technology, from understanding it, knowing what it is, blockchain, AI, facial recognition software, all kind of things out there. Not to say that we have to be an expert in everything, but a lack of initiative to learn new things can be a huge missed opportunity. Why? Because now we become obsolete. So if you were really good with Windows 7.0 and you haven't really bought a computer in a long time and Windows 11 is out, you can have a big learning curve there. So when you go into the interview to talk about what you know technology wise, you may not be as as up on things as you need to be. Sometimes when we turn away from things, and again, I'm using technology as an example of intellectual missed opportunities because I feel this is a big one and I feel this is one that people may deal with a lot. But not allowing yourself to understand, know, and learn about new things may keep you in a comfort zone because you know what you know. You might know your older smartphone, you might know your older laptop, but you're not aware of how things are changing, what the new software is, what's popular, what the platforms are. I know when it comes to parents and children, there's often a disconnect because parents are on one platform and young people are on another. Again, if we don't take those steps to take advantage of intellectual opportunities, then we might feel like we're comfortable and safe, but we're really not moving forward. I'm going to give you another example of this. Back in the day, we used to rent videos from Blockbuster. A lot of us remember Blockbuster stores. They were everywhere. So on the weekend, you couldn't wait to go to the video store to rent a video. And you got your big video and you put it in the video player and you watched the movie and then you returned it to Blockbuster. And then all of a sudden, A new ways of viewing movies came about in the form of DVDs. And all of a sudden, you had red box DVDs for $1 at every Walgreens, and Netflix that also let you rent DVDs through the mail. And in a matter of moments, Blockbuster was obsolete. It was gone as the technology evolved to DVD. And now we're streaming. So again, I'm using technology as an example, but there's a real powerful lesson in missed opportunities that are intellectual in nature. And it's not just technology, it's taking advantage of learning about things, learning about the world, about other places and spaces. And if you're open to that, you're less likely to miss those types of opportunities. So, again, missed opportunities have a cost, and that cost can be staggering. If you are hesitant to take a risk, if you are hesitant to move forward, you can find yourself struggling. Now, we can lower the cost of missed opportunities. And what does that mean? That means that we want to minimize the loss or the cost associated with those missed opportunities. Well, how can we do that? Well, we talked about analysis paralysis earlier, right? And I said that sometimes when you have too much information coming in, you get stuck in decision making. There's a concept called the 70% rule that says that if you have 70% of the information you need, you can make the decision. If you wait for 90%, you're likely too late. That goes back to the perfectionism we talked about. So, in theory, you can have just enough information to make a decision. There's going to be a risk in that because you don't have all the information. But if you wait for 90% of information, it's likely that the window of opportunity would close on that the window would close on that particular opportunity. So, the 70% rule is one way to lower the cost of missed opportunities. Reducing regret is another way of reducing the cost. Okay. And how that works is you just simply ask yourself the question, will I regret doing this, or will I regret not doing this? In the example we had about professional opportunities being missed, and we had the example of this project needed a new leader, and considering if we're going to throw our hat in the ring, the question to reduce regret over that decision is, will I regret doing this or will I not? It's going to take a little bit of analysis for you to come to a conclusion about which way to go. But that may lead you more towards taking our opportunity than not taking an opportunity when you look at all the pieces that go along with that particular opportunity that you're considering. Building your risk tolerance level is also a way to lower the cost of missed opportunities, meaning that we can practice um, we can practice making small, lower risk decisions on a more often basis, which will help us build tolerance for taking risk. One of the reasons we don't take opportunities is we hesitate or we are risk avoidant. This is a way to increase your tolerance with accepting risk and how much risk you can accept. So that's another way to lower the cost of missed opportunities. When we miss opportunities and we shy away from expanding ourselves, we can find ourselves in the comfort zone. Now, I did do an episode on the comfort zone quite some time ago, so you can check that out. But nothing grows in the comfort zone. And often opportunities serve to push us, to help us grow, to help us stretch, to gather new skills and new skill sets. So we don't want to stay safe and we don't want to stay in the comfort zone. We want to always be in a position that forces us to grow. And now I want you to consider this topic that we talked about and challenge yourselves. Challenge yourselves in a couple of ways. First, think about all the opportunities you've missed over your lifetime. What you missed and why you missed them. Did they fall into one of those buckets, professional, personal, or intellectual? Did you find yourself hesitating because you were needed everything to be perfectly together before you could make a decision? Or did you get stuck in analysis paralysis or decision paralysis? Think about that. And then use that information to improve going forward. Maybe in 2026, you make a goal to take at least 3 opportunities that come your way and do it and see what happens. Force yourself into a position where you can grow a little bit, expand a little bit, and challenge yourself a little bit. So I hope you found this topic very interesting and thought provoking. I sure did. Thanks for hanging out with me here at the Convos with Anita Santiago podcast. I appreciate each and every listener, fan, and supporter. You guys keep coming back and showing up for me, and I appreciate you so much. Again, please like, subscribe, share, review the podcast on all the major platforms. You can email me if you need to, convoscws@gmail.com. And until we talk again, happy listening.